The Flicks Book Club.
The Flicks
Na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Book Club.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. Hey, welcome to the Flicks Book Club. I'm Steve McDonald.
I'm Casey Aurora.
I'm Dennis Rooney.
Check us out at flicksbookclub.com. You can hit us up on Facebook and Twitter and all of the things. This week we watched Bulletproof Salesman. It's a documentary directed by, I'm going to mess this up, Petra Eperlein and Michael Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Tucker, much easier to say. And it is about Fidelis Closer, who he is a salesman who sells bulletproof cars all over the world. And the movie takes place primarily like at the beginning, middle-ish. I mean, the Iraq War's gone on for so long that it's kind of the beginning.
Whenever that beginning
whenever
was.
that it was
cloudy.
2004 to 2007-ish.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where he is trying to sell bulletproof cars to foreign dignitaries and to just generally people in Iraq.
Anyone who can afford it.
Anyone who
really.
can afford it, because
He's
they
a
end up being
businessman.
like $600,000 cars.
Very expensive.
But
They're top of the line. He's selling top of the line bulletproof
But they are
cars.
truly top of the line, and that's one
Right.
of the things that he gets into throughout the entire movie is just how good he's German and the German engineering on the entire thing, which I feel like he brings up many times.
Yeah, he won't shut up about
This
it.
guy is really German.
Right.
Really German.
Right.
But yeah, it's I like it. I picked it. It's an interesting documentary. I had seen it before, and there were parts of the movie that always stuck with me because I saw it years ago, and there were just always moments in it that stuck with me. So when I saw that it was back up on Netflix, I was like, I gotta pick it for the podcast,
Right.
and we should watch it. So I'm gonna go with stream it. I liked it.
You know, it's short. It's only like what, 80,
It's 69 minutes
69
long.
minutes.
Yeah.
Right. It's very
Barely
short.
a feature.
Right. I would. I liked it, and there was it's because it's short.
I feel like I'm kind of with you right now, Casey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump ahead of you right now, and this will probably sway you to give it a don't stream it because you're cantankerous.
Right.
But I was a little bit on the fence. But you know what? If you like documentaries, this is pretty short, and it's a real dose of reality. There's some stuff, especially as an American watching this movie. I was watching this, seeing how a German was treated over there and how he behaved himself. And this guy scared me a lot. Watch this movie. This is worth a watch, I think.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go throw it in the Blockbuster group. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's short. It's good, and that dose of reality is what really kind of caused me. Like we drive in America. You drive down the road, and nothing happens to you. That's it. You don't have a chance of your car being blown up or shot to pieces.
Yeah.
And that's the fact of the matter, and that's what life is in those countries, in the Middle East.
And it's also super interesting to see the other side of that. Like, this guy's a self-admitted war profiteer.
And he admits it.
And he, gives his name. I think his name, I don't know if it's Closer his last name. I think it's Fidelis Claire or Cloer.
I am probably messing that up because it's very German.
And I couldn't find anything on him on Wikipedia, so maybe that's a fake name too. I don't know. I mean, I also find that surprising. So
I was watching with my ex-girlfriend. She's like, "What's that guy's name again?" I'm like, "What are you trying to date him? Relax, calm down." Yeah,
I mean, he sells $600,000 cars.
Yeah, of course.
Just like they're nothing.
He doesn't mention a wife, so so I guess stream it, and we'll be back to talk about it.
I would not consider myself a car salesman. I think it's different. We're not selling cars. We're selling safety. We're selling security. We're selling a concept.
We don't go to places that are peaceful. Iceland, I think. I don't know if they have any armored cars up there, but we don't go there.
Now, make no mistake. When you go to Iraq or Afghanistan, you have to be aware that these places are extremely dangerous.
And we're back. Okay, so honestly, the scene that stuck with me the most, it was one of the things, and I've thought about it forever since then, was when he's talking about being a salesman.
Yes.
And he's like you have to look the part. you have to. It's like if that means you have polished shoes, you have polished shoes.
Right.
If you've got fingernail, like you have to make your fingernails look nice.
If you have fingernails,
if you're
you
a
gotta use 'em.
salesman, if you're like he's like if you're a salesman, you should know the first thing they look at is your hands. The second thing they look at is your shoes. The third thing they look at is your watch, and they judge you upon those things.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just like, forever that has stuck in my head where I'm just like, I am not a salesman.
No, I wouldn't buy any. I wouldn't buy air off you.
This dude has a level of professionalism that is like unparalleled. At least for me, seeing like I've met businessmen to a
Yes.
certain degree,
Yeah.
and like, but specifically salesmen, because you can be a businessman and be very successful and kind of not care how you look and how you present yourself if you're that good at being a businessman.
Right.
But as a salesman, and he makes a point to say this, where he goes, "You're not doing cold calls. You're not just showing." He goes, "You are just showing up, but you're doing it face to face. You have to be face to face with someone. They can't
Yeah.
get away from you.
Right.
You can pin them on the spot, and that's such a true thing.
Mhm.
Like for example, like my day job. If I got to get it covered, I'm not going to text somebody. I'm going to call them. This way,
Yeah.
they have to answer right now. There's no stalling. You know what I mean? There's no email back and forth where
Yeah.
can you do this? And they get time. No, you pin them on the spot.
Right. And that's what when you talk about businessmen versus salesmen, like a salesman is a businessman, but Steve Jobs was a businessman. Whereas
Yeah.
and he was, he was dressed poorly, he was barefoot, long hair, smelled, he was like a hippie.
Right.
Whereas Fidelis is a salesman. Like he goes there and he makes the sale. He pitches these cars to these people, and you're not buying a TV. We're not talking like
Yeah.
PC Richard where it's a $400 purchase, and you could sell a couple of these in a day. We're talking a car that will, that is bulletproof. And now at this point, another thing that they discussed, which I thought was interesting, he's like, to say it's a bulletproof car is, that's really not that.
One of the first things they say is there's no such thing as a bulletproof car. He goes,
Right.
I wish there was, but there's not.
Yeah.
But they do extensive, crazy testing on them to
Yes.
get as close as they can.
And then now he's like, the big thing that people want, it's not just a car that is bulletproof as much as it can be, but it's bomb-proof. They want bomb-proof
Yeah,
car.
that's
And
more important now.
that sunk with me the most was because it's like, oh, hey, you need a car that you can drive down the road, and if a bomb goes off underneath it, you want the people to live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is crazy. Like, my biggest concern when driving now is, I hope I don't hit a pothole and get a flat tire.
Yes. Dude,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
The idea, and he said that there was a transition that, like, when he first started doing the armored car thing, it was there was an emphasis on, like automatic weaponry being fired
Right.
at your car, bulletproof
Yeah.
glass, that sort of thing. And he sort of creviced that a bullet could ricochet off and sneak through and get you.
Yes, through like
Yeah.
a door, through
Yeah.
the door jam and just get
Yeah.
in.
Right. But then it eventually became, IEDs, improvised explosive devices
Right.
in the Middle East, and that's like, and it happens all the time. The numbers that they were throwing at you, I don't remember them off the top of my head. I didn't write them down, but they were a lot more than I thought.
Yes.
of
Right.
people being blown up in cars.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that's one of the things that that always struck me about this piece was that it's like it's this consistency of just like the blur of like terrible places.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you hear 2 people died in Iraq, you're like, of course.
Right.
You don't think about it. It's not a thing. It's like, oh, car bombs went off here or car bombs went off here. But like, if you were like 10 people died from a suicide bomber in Brooklyn, you'd be like, the world
Whoa.
is falling apart.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because we think that, we believe we're safe here. And
Yeah.
to a degree we are. You know, one of the things that kind of like, I knew this was going to happen at some point in the documentary. And then when it does, I was like, this is really cool. And this was what was selling me on the documentary, was when he's just like, he sits in his car and they fire guns at his car just so he can show to these people that are interested in purchasing one of his vehicles that, it's bulletproof. I mean, as much as he's he's like, go at it, shoot away.
Mm-hmm.
And they fired rounds of bullets at his car while he sat there. And I was just like, this to me is crazy because I've never held a gun. No, I've held a gun. I've never fired a gun. And
You've never fired a gun?
no,
Neither have I.
I've
Not
never-
even at someone who was like running away?
No.
You just
No.
not into the air after like a good day? Nothing?
No, I don't come home and just let off a couple rounds. Don't get me wrong. I used to actually joke about gun clapping.
I remember that,
I used to have a joke about gun clapping and how it's like such a weird way to celebrate. I don't even remember how the joke went, but it's just like the fact of like, and then this guy's business is, oh, hey, we make a car that will, protect you against these things.
If you're going to the mall and someone 6 miles away is gun clapping for a Sweet 16 and you get like buried under a hail of automatic bullet fire coming back down. Can I be honest with you for a second?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I thought that when you fired bullets into the air, they just went into the atmosphere.
I thought that
floated
too.
away. I thought they were going to go that far.
I thought they kept going.
Yeah,
I was like, why would they come back down? Do you know how fast that thing is going? It's out of here. It's clearly in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the confidence of Fidelis, the salesman, when they ask him, they're like, "Would you?" Because they kind of say it jokingly, like, "Would you get in the car and let us fire?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course, I've done it. Sure."
Yeah.
And he's done it.
He didn't even think twice.
He didn't even think twice because not only is this guy such a good salesman, because he really is. Like, let's be honest, this guy. And I want to get into this. There's obviously a dark side to this documentary. Is this guy a good guy or a bad guy? And where do you draw the line with that? And I want to get into that. But regardless of that, he comes off as very likable, even for a German.
Yes.
Let's be honest now. German people, they're cold, they're logical. This guy is cold and logical, but he's still got a bit of humor about him.
Yes.
And he's just
Yes.
likable.
But
He's a
that's-
clean-cut dude.
I do wish that like I could watch him. I would love to watch this guy tell a joke.
yeah.
No, but that's that's the stereotype of how Germans are. Like they're like these unlikable and cold and logical, but they're not. They can be warm and likable people, and that's
I mean,
that's what it
yeah.
is. It's your stereotype of Germans because that's my stereotype of Germans.
But there are plenty of Germans who are like that. Though.
Yes,
like
but
that stereotype exists for a reason.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it's not like Fidelis.
I'm not saying
he's the only one out there. That
No,
is
of
likable.
course not. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. In my experience of Germans, the
Right.
idea of a German salesman is almost crazy to me. Like, I
Yes.
just figure when they need something over there, they go in and they're like, give me this, I'll pay you for it. And they're like, okay. and that's it. But this guy's like warm.
Each transaction has no empathy or
There's
sympathy whatsoever.
no emotion
I
whatsoever.
would love that because that's how I talk to people when I buy things. I'm very like, I walk into a place like, let me get a bagel. And then I just look at them like, oh yeah, please. Like I need to add that in there.
Yeah, and I mean, while Fidelis is like that, he's got the salesman thing down.
Yes.
But I bet you, like, when he's not in salesman mode, he just shuts down into, like, RoboCop mode. Like, same thing.
I almost thought the same thing, but then there's that one part where he's doing business, he's talking business, and he's petting a cat, dude. He's
No, I
literally
know.
playing-
It was
he's
so
playing- He's
funny.
playing with this little kitty, and he's just like, this cat's like meowing at him, and he's like, you must sell these bulletproof cars, and they must be. And it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And this guy
If you
is,
do not have the good bulletproof cars, you die.
yeah, and that's
This
it.
is just how it is.
And he's like, and when they buy one of my cars, they never die. And one person bought a car, but they died beside it. And I was like, that's still good tactics.
Yeah, how many people? He tallied off a couple people there who just get out of the car. Like, why would you spend $600,000
Right.
on a bulletproof armored SUV vehicle and then get out of it?
Well, and that actually comes to a point that I thought was really interesting about the thing, because when he talks about the fact that he's a war profiteer, I would actually go so far as to say that he's not.
I do not agree.
No,
but
no,
go
and
on.
this is my
I'm gonna
reasoning.
let you
Yeah,
finish, but I
yeah.
have a quote that maybe you forgot from the beginning of this movie from him. But you go ahead. I feel like a reporter who's like,
Mr. McDonald. It says here explicitly. Go on, Steven. I want to hear what.
No. This is my thing is
Yeah.
that I consider war profiteers not to just be people who profited off of war,
Right.
but to be people who negligently or deliberately, like, wrongfully profited off of war. So, like, the guy who's like, where they mention where in the thing where it's like, yeah, he ordered 100 armored cars, and then they said, yeah, do the thing, and then they put boxes, like $12 million of boxes of cash onto a plane, and it went to Jordan, and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's like, whoever has that money, like that guy, if that guy just like doesn't exist anymore, doesn't live in Iraq, like was on the plane to Jordan and then like paid somebody off in Jordan to just walk away with the money,
Yeah.
which very possibly happened.
Sure.
Is that it's like, if you do that, it's like you're a war profiteer. Like 100%. If you're the guy who's like, if you're like selling extra stuff to somebody.
but wait, he did that though, right? He said he made that sale, didn't he?
No, he made the sale. He didn't make that specific sale. The guy in Iraq ordered 100 cars from him.
Oh, he middlemanned it?
He was the salesman on it, but he didn't get the $12 million. His company never got the money.
Oh.
And they never got the cars. The money just disappeared into Jordan.
It went
I didn't
somewhere else.
understand that.
Yeah.
He wasn't the one who actually did
So
it.
you're
And
saying
it's like,
when some harm, like direct harm, comes from the profit?
when direct like there's guys that worked with like Blackwater and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
literally like there are stories of like they'd get a flat tire and decide to blow up the car
Why?
because they would get a new car.
Oh, okay. So, or yeah.
Like they would just get a new
or like
one.
somebody who sells guns. That's like a war profiteer to you.
Well, somebody who sells guns in a way that's not too like very. If you're like selling guns like out of the back of your car in a war
So
zone,
wait,
I'm like, you're a war
you define
profiteer.
war profiteer as like whether they do it by the books and keep their receipts and stuff? That's what it sounds
I'm
like.
trying to find what
I'm
he
more
thinks.
like I'm looking at it like this.
I wanna hear this quote.
Anyone who sell let me do this quote first.
Yeah.
Good point.
Right.
He sees this guy. It's that first scene. I think they open the movie with he's on his cell phone. He's got his very nice suit on. He's smoking a cigarette. By the way, this guy smokes like a chimney.
Yeah.
And boy, does he look cool doing it.
Yeah, chain.
Not a lot of people still
No,
doing that, but he
no.
makes it work, man.
Right.
And he's smoking a cigarette, and he's on the phone. He's trying to make a sale. He's like, I'm only in town for the day. Do you want to die? You know, like, come on, buy my stuff.
Right.
And he sees someone standing, I guess, in front of a hotel, and he's got written in, I guess, Arabic. I don't know. It
Yeah.
says peace.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
Yeah.
peace? What is that? Get out of here. I don't want that. I want war. I don't want peace. I want war. I don't want peace. Because he's going to make a lot more money at wartime.
Yes.
The perfect war. That
Oh,
expression
yeah.
is thrown around a bunch because it had an emphasis on the IEDs and the armored cars, and there's a lot of money in
There's
there.
no gray area here. It's very,
Well, no.
it's
Here's why there is a
very
gray area.
specific.
Here's why there is a gray area. Because guns, of course, I would think are war profiteering. Steven has an opinion where it's kind of
like you
murky.
got to have a smile.
But here's
Well,
the
no,
thing.
no, they're
These are
used
for
to-
defense. These are for people who might just live in that area.
This is my thing. Like in World War II, there were people who were brought up after the war. They were brought up by Congress on war profiteering charges.
Right.
And what it was it wasn't I sold you a thing that you didn't really need, or I sold you a thing and I marked up the price.
That's
what it
called-
was.
That's
no.
war scamming. That's not
Yeah,
profiteering.
that's what I'm saying is
Right.
that what war profiteering was like, hey, we gave you $10 million to make us new Jeeps, and you just never delivered Jeeps, but you certainly took the money.
Or you made Jeeps that were faulty.
Or
Jeeps.
you made Jeeps that were faulty
Right,
Jeeps.
I
And when I
remember-
look at him, I'm like, this guy straight up, like, I feel like the other people in his field were war profiteers, where
Top
they
of
were
the line
like,
product, though,
he's
with this
like,
guy.
yeah, it cost $300,000. You won't die. What do you want from me?
Yeah, but
like
that's-
he's profiting off of the thing, but he's delivering a product.
No,
that
this
is-
is just because they're top of the line products and he's a good salesman doesn't mean he's not a war profiteer. He's
No, but
wa-
to me because he's not selling a faulty product.
that makes him not a war profiteer.
Yeah.
Dude,
All right. In my
Dennis,
see what I mean?
are
in
you
my
not-
sense of the term,
Yeah.
war profiteering is someone who is going to make a higher profit during wartime.
Yes.
Now, a war profiteer who instigates or through negligence, kind of lets a war happen. And I also agree with the faulty product and stuff. That's bad too. But those
Right.
are just like worse forms of war profiteering.
That's called
This
war
guy is like,
scamming.
this guy is so close to the line. This guy is so close to the line of being like just a good guy. But the fact that his product, I'm sure if he gets offered enough
Are you
money.
guys crazy?
Hold on. No, I'm with you. I'm
Okay.
saying
Yeah,
I'm saying
but
this guy's a
it's-
war profiteer.
I feel like you guys are I'm going to see you guys next week and you're both driving armored cars.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this, KC.
What?
If Fidelis was here right now, would you look him in the eyes and say you're a bad person?
That's not the question.
I think a war profiteer is kind of a bad person, especially when they're selling faulty product or they're.
No, if you're selling faulty product, you're anywhere, war or peace, you're a bad person. You're selling a faulty product, you're a bad person. That's what it comes down to. However, because it's not what you'd advertise what is being sold. This guy sells a product that's advertised as sold, goes above and beyond as per what he says and what he's selling. But is he a bad person? Yes. Yes, he's profiting off war. How is that? You know what I mean? Like there's
But it's one of those things where someone's going to profit off of war, and the product that he
So
sells could
why
save
not
your
me?
life when you live in a war area.
Yeah, okay, it can save your life.
I'm
Yes.
kind of on the fence. I think he's a war profiteer, but is he a bad person?
Yes, when you
He
profit,
does say, but here's the thing too. When he says that earlier, when he said, "Go away, I want war, I don't want peace," he's like kind of laughing. Like this is a guy who knows what's going on. This is a very smart person. He
Right.
knows that he's doing something that's hinges on hundreds of thousands of deaths per year.
Right.
But those deaths are happening, and his product might prevent some of those deaths. But my question is he selling to anyone who could pay for it, or is he kind of like picking and choosing his clients? Because that can make him a bad person or a good person.
No.
See, this is my thing is when it comes to like the war profiteering end of things.
Yeah.
When I look at certain companies where it's like when I look at somebody like a company like Halliburton, it's like Halliburton had many instances where they were given a no-bid contract on something to deal with like oil rigs or to deal with security or something along those lines in Iraq. And they were given a contract from Congress that was $100 million.
Right.
And then they immediately subcontracted it to a shittier company.
Yes.
For like $2 million.
Right.
And when I look at that, I'm like, that $98 million is war profiteering. Somebody should go to prison for that money because we as a government could have spent.
There's no gray area for war profiteering. You're making money off of war. You are making a profit off of war.
All right.
Therefore,
but what about, listen, in World
all
War II,
war profiteering is bad.
World War II was a huge surge to our economy for all the work that was created.
Doesn't mean it's
what about
right.
What about when you're fighting the war? I mean, this guy's not fighting the war.
No.
But since we're getting into the idea of is a war profiteer ever good, what about when you're fighting the war and while you're profiting off people in your own country while providing them work? It's like a symbiotic relationship.
You got to live with the fact you're doing bad things. That's what it comes down to. It's the same thing with he says it. Fidel says it himself. He says, "Listen, when they sell Band-Aids during the war for that's war profiteering.
Yeah.
When they sell medicine during the war, that's war profiteering.
On a technicality, I looked up
Yeah.
war profiteering because my brain's getting confused. And so a war profiteer is any person or organization that profits from warfare by selling weapons or other goods to parties at war.
Yeah,
so technically, yeah.
Yes, of course. There's no gray area here.
I guess
other goods though.
Other goods. What do you
selling
mean? Don't try to
selling
look for
kick cereal to the enemy, or not even to the enemy, to a side and something you have nothing to do with.
But that's what it makes. It doesn't make a difference if you don't have a part in the war. If you're like Germany, let's say if they were like Sweden.
This guy is so German, man. It drives me nuts.
And totally neutral. Let's say they're totally neutral, but he goes in there and he's selling these cars. You're making a profit off of war, and he's a bad person for doing it. And that's what it comes down to. He's a bad person for doing it, and that's something he has to live with. And he seems comfortable living with it. And that's what it comes down to. Now, there's no question for good or bad. It's bad to make profit off of war because people's lives are lost. And that's what this war is. It's a business. And that's what you have to accept in life, that you're a bad person making a profit off it. Is that what it is? Yes. There's no way around it.
I think there's a gray area that you're not acknowledging.
Yeah, if this is what
especially because this guy's selling armored SUVs.
It doesn't make a difference. He's going in there and he sees a way to exploit.
He sees a market.
He's exploiting fear.
He sees a market.
Yeah,
but it's a justified fear.
Yeah,
people are getting blown up every day in crappy SUVs,
but
man.
This shouldn't be happening to begin with because it's war. It shouldn't be happening. You should find a way to make money without having people getting killed.
Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is exactly what Netflix Book Club is all about. Okay,
I'm blown away by
watch
you
some
two.
60-minute documentary, and now we're arguing over the ethics of war profiteering.
It's just
thank you, Netflix.
Yeah, I don't.
Thank you, Netflix.
I don't get how you guys can I thought you guys were like my friends. I didn't know that you people are like this. That you're like okay with this. He's like, he's a smooth salesman. He's a nice guy. You maniacs would buy this kind of stuff.
He's gonna become my mentor. I'm gonna study under him.
Fidelis, do you teach a class? The one thing, I'll be honest.
Okay, wait, hold on. What if it was a product that only could be... What if it was like a safe house? What if you were selling safe houses in war profiteering areas? Is that still bad?
The only difference between his car and a safe house are wheels, Dennis.
Yeah, but a safe house, you can't drive a safe house into somebody.
Yes, I understand that, but it's the same thing. It's literally a safe house with wheels.
So anything you sell to any side of any war is bad.
Is profiteering. And it is bad.
I know it's profiteering. I understand that.
All right.
But
So
profiteering...
we cleared that hurdle.
How does Steven not have more of an opinion on this right now? The
because
Vice
Steven
man
is
himself...
Wrong. Steven is so wrong. Steven is so wrong.
Vice Cube over there keeps his damn mouth shut out of nowhere. Good. Never happened before.
I know. Usually he's chock full of opinions, but today he should realize that he is wrong. And war profiteering is bad.
No,
and that's
I
what
think
you need to accept.
No.
I have to accept what it is.
I agree that war profiteering is bad.
Okay.
I agree
Thank
that
God.
I think that the gray area that I'm looking at,
Yeah.
and I think that, and to me, when you actually look at the problem, it's a vast gray area.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Fidelis is selling? I don't hate this guy for being a war profiteer.
Right.
He sells a very good product.
Okay.
He does it very well.
Yes.
And his product is he's very straightforward about the pricing.
Oh man,
he's
you guys
very
are
straightforward about
suckers
these
for
things.
salesmen.
No.
Suckers.
And the product that he is offering
Mm-hmm.
is both worthwhile.
What is this?
No. And this is no.
If
And
you were
this is my
living in
reason.
a-
He's right. It's just the way he's saying. He's like, listen, Fidelis is selling. You know what I mean? The way it's like you're repitching me something I already know.
We gotta
No.
find this dude. We have to find Fidelis.
Like I've
But what
been
I'm-
a salesman. I know what.
No,
you know.
no, I understand. But what I'm saying is this: is that there were billions of dollars just stolen from the
Okay.
Iraq War.
Right.
And
No,
so what
yes.
I'm saying is this: is he a war profiteer? Yes.
Right.
It's the bad person thing. Is that I don't think that he's a bad person. I think that he is like a quintessential, like, kind of perfectly fine war profiteer. You'd look at him and you'd go, I don't really think that you should be doing that, but while you do it, you're not an absolutely awful person.
That is no. That's insane. That's
wrong.
wrong.
I would consider the competitors that he has who are doing poor work, who are
Right.
selling it as armored cars,
Okay.
who are selling it as things that will save your life, and they're selling it for like $50,000, and they're just trying to make as many sales as physically possible.
Sure.
But people are getting shot up and blown up in
Yeah,
those
but-
cars. Those guys are war profiteers who are bad people because they know the product that they're selling is not good enough.
No, that's how he justifies sleeping well at night. And this is how you guys justify him being a good person because it's a good product. It doesn't mean just because it's a good product that's like a small thing comparatively to the fact that he is profiting off war, which is the result of lives
You know what?
being lost.
You know what, Casey?
That's what it is. That's literally what it is.
You know what, Casey?
Yeah.
You know what he's selling?
Oh man.
He's not selling. He's not selling an armored car.
What?
He's selling a good feeling. Okay. He's selling security,
Oh,
man.
you,
I'm sorry, but
you
someday
are a
listen,
piece of trash.
Listen, man.
You are
I know that you're saying that he's selling things based off of fear, but that's the
Right.
world we live in, man. And someday you might want an armored car, or you might want a gun under your pillow, and you're
Oh
gonna have to
my
buy it
God.
off somebody.
Oh, Lord.
And when you buy it, you might feel better, and
Yeah.
you're gonna want to buy it
Right.
from someone who's trustworthy,
Oh, man.
someone who's better than his competitors.
I hate you so
Listen,
much.
just take my card.
I
Just
hate
take
you.
my card. Just take my card. Just give me a call
Oh,
anytime.
man.
You might have some
You
questions.
people-
I get.
You guys are scum.
No. This is what
You guys are straight
I'm
scum.
gonna put this in terms that I feel like Casey's gonna be able to relate to.
Yeah.
Okay. This is all I have to say to you.
Shoot.
Money over everything.
Oh my God, I hate you guys. You know, I'm gonna. That's fine if we're gonna come to it at a pass in terms of what we're doing. But
Yeah.
I do think that when I first started watching the documentary, and I wanted to say this before we wrap up, is that when I first started watching it, I wasn't intrigued. I'm just watching some guy, like some dude. I couldn't even tell if he was from the Middle East in the beginning. I was like, I couldn't pinpoint the accent very well. And I'm like, and it's just at this weird upward angle, and it's shoddy. It's like because the camera is like it's not super clear or what have you.
It almost seems like he made this documentary about himself.
Right.
Like he was like,
Yes.
I want to make a movie
Yeah,
about
like
myself.
he's holding a selfie stick
Yeah,
and
that's
just
it.
and he's just making this, and it seemed shoddy. And to me, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this, but I'm like, you know what? It's only 69 minutes. I can sit there and I can watch it, but it gets better, and it makes you question these things, and I think it's worth questioning. And the cool thing is not just the explosions from a video of other cars getting blown up as examples, like when they're showing like, oh, these are people that have been killed because of IEDs, but when they start to show his product being tested. And when they're testing bullets and explosions on it,
Yeah.
I was actually like, this is really cool. Like my friend, she's like my ex-girlfriend. She's like one of my best friends. We're sitting there, we're watching this, and she's literally jumping at the explosions because it's freaky. Like they shoot almost 1,700 bullets at one of the
Something insane.
yeah, like 1,600 bullets at one of his armored cars.
From every angle.
From every angle, and he's like, "This is a little bit of an extreme situation." Or 619, 619 bullets just came in, and he's like, "This is an extreme example, but this is what we need to do." And I was like, "This is insanely interesting to me." Therefore, I was like, "Wow, this is really cool."
It's interesting too, man, to watch him walking around they make an issue when they're first at the beginning of the documentary. They're wearing vests with the German flag. The car says "Don't shoot us."
Yeah.
Very tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Super German, and they're very confident.
German
going around.
flags hanging from the car.
People don't really over there. Most people were nice to them. The
Right.
biggest concern he had was being taken for American.
Right.
Don't get
Yeah.
taken for American.
Yeah.
Let them
You
know
know-
from a distance that you're a German person.
You know what
That
I
you're
love?
just here to sell
And
them
all
something.
it takes is a flag. I've always hated
Isn't that
flags.
crazy? Yeah.
and now like this to me is a huge like I've always been like forget flags, forget nationalism, all this stuff, and I'm thinking all it takes is a little black, red, and whatever that yellow,
Yeah.
and that's it. And that's all it takes.
Well, you couldn't do that.
No, I passed for.
I could do that until I opened my mouth.
I tried Canadian. I'd go for
Try
Canadian.
Canadian.
I'd
You could probably get away with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
people, isn't that crazy? Yeah, you'll get treated so much better as a Canadian outside of the
You know,
U.S.
it isn't just the Middle East; it's the world in general.
It's the world in general.
Looks down.
Yeah.
Like when people would ask me, like when I would travel abroad, they're like, "Hey, are you Canadian?" And I was like, "No, I'm from the United States."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Wow, you're not a jerk." And I was like, "Yeah, some of us are actually pretty decent."
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
so bad. So,
So-
I guess, that's another blockbuster.
Right.
It's
Well
another
done, Steven.
blockbuster.
Well done.
It was good.
Nobody's changing their mind. We're all
No,
going with
no,
Shane?
not even-
No,
I'm not changing my mind.
I wish Kunal would change his mind
Right.
about how he felt about Fidelis.
No, absolutely not. I will not. He's the guy is a bad guy. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's a monster.
Would you like to have a cigarette with him, though,
100%.
and talk to him?
100%. 100%. I still think he's a cool dude. He can be cool and bad.
Okay,
That's
all right.
what it is. So what do we got on? What do we got next? So stream it.
So, stream it away,
Stream it.
man.
Yeah.
Definitely
Good-
stream it.
It's
good
69
documentary.
minutes. You for like the beginning is a little choppy looking, but you're gonna get pulled in, and I don't even care where.
We'll
you're-
give that as a quick criticism because it was a little lo-fi for
Right.
a movie. Like, it really did look like he funded it and made it, and
Yes.
he just wanted to get it
Yeah.
out there. I feel like
Right.
this was a commercial for his business.
Right. Like a
Now
long
everyone's watching it on
commercial
Netflix. like,
that just went a little bit too far.
people
Right.
all over the world are watching this on Netflix. Like, we gotta get in touch with this guy. I've been looking. This armored car I have now, no good.
You guys are clearly.
I don't know
sold.
what accent that
I don't know.
was.
Yeah, you guys are clearly sold on it, and
Oh.
you're monsters.
I
but-
like
Fidelis,
that.
if you wanna
I
grab
like
a
that
beer
I
one
feel
time.
like I like that. I feel like in like a week we're gonna be like Kunal's gonna be like, I got a new job. We're gonna be like, what? He's gonna be like, I'm selling armored cars.
I'm out this. All right, what's the next movie we got for
So
next week?
week we're going back-to-back documentaries, and I think this documentary is going to be about someone who vastly different than what Bulletproof Salesman was about. Next week we're going to watch the Mike Myers directed Supermensch, The Legend of Shep Gordon.
Cool.
So tune in next week. Get on the website, get on Twitter, leave us a comment.
Flixbookclub.com.
Yep, and we'll see you guys next week.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.